Tourism in the 21st century looks to the stars.
People are looking for experiences, and astronomy is a new experience not available to them previously.
I've never seen the detail on the moon and Saturn and some of the stars.
Spain is one of the best destinations in the world to enjoy astronomy. It's a trend on the rise.
Astrotourism is giving value to the attraction of the night sky.
Scientific institutions, businesses, and tourist establishments are backing this new trend.
15 years ago, astrotourism sounded like science fiction, didn't it? Who would come from abroad just to look at stars?
More than 30,000 German astronomers have to go abroad to practice their hobby.
This intelligent tourism offers unique experiences to travelers from all over the world to discover in the southwest of Europe.
Spending the night looking through a telescope or even with the naked eye to see things they've never seen before is an experience they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
In the Canary Islands, the universe seems to feel closer. Along with other locations in southwestern Europe, the Spanish archipelago is an ideal location for observing the sky.
The Iberian Peninsula and the Canary Islands should actually be considered as a nature reserve for practicing astronomy in Europe.
Their geographic setting with the mountains and climate make these islands a kind of window on the cosmos, where many nations would like to carry out groundbreaking research.
We have telescopes from a great many countries, especially at the observatory of El Roca de los Muchachos on La Palma Island. You'll find the best set of telescopes in the Northern Hemisphere there, if not in the whole world.
Astronomy, arguably the first science cultivated by humans, is in some danger. Light pollution from cities obscures the stars.
Astronomers and astrophysicists were the first to identify the danger of losing the night sky. Society wasn't aware of the importance of preserving that sky. People thought astronomers were the only ones interested for scientific or personal reasons.
We may be witnessing the end of dark nights. Cities are excessively illuminated. Observatories have had to move farther and farther away to increasingly remote settings.
Since the 1980s, international experts have warned of the consequences of light pollution. It contributes to climate change, modifies the behavior of certain animals, and affects people's health.
We've evolved with these cycles between day and night, and we know our internal clock, our circadian rhythm, is disrupted.
The U.S.-based International Dark Sky Association has been devoted to protecting dark skies since 1988. It is just one of the organizations working to preserve these spaces. In Europe, the Canary Islands have played a decisive role. The Starlight Foundation, founded by the Canary Islands Institute of Astrophysics, has been active since 2007.
The Astrophysics Institute is committed to conserving the skies, not only for use by scientists, but also as part of humanity's intangible heritage, for the enjoyment of the general public.
Scientists and non-professional astronomers from various nations work together with this organization. The objectives are twofold: to preserve dark skies and promote astronomy. To do so, they consider tourism a way of spreading knowledge. With the support of the International Astronomy Association, UNESCO, and the World Tourism Organization, this foundation certifies the quality of the sky.
Some skies look beautiful, but it's not guaranteed they'll stay that way. Starlight certifications ensure that there are regulations that will keep the sky so dark that people can enjoy the sky.
The Canary Islands is the birthplace of European astrotourism. Other regions in the south of Spain, with significant attractions for visitors and a good infrastructure, have added astronomy to their offerings.
The skies are clear day and night in Andalusia, ideal for astrotourism. When the sun shines, tourists can enjoy the weather, the beach bars, and the hotels. So why not grab a telescope at night and take advantage of the sky?
Many people are interested in a different type of tourism. It's no longer enough just to go and look at places. They want to go deeper and have a real experience. There are tourists who travel just to practice astronomy. The rest of the trip is extra.
The Iberian Peninsula offers the best conditions for observation. In addition to its geographic location and climate, with a large number of clear nights throughout the year, it is sparsely populated in many regions.
In Central and Northern Europe, the settled areas are quite scattered about. There are lots of homes and small residential areas between the cities, whereas in Andalusia, cities are compact, and then there are a lot of unpopulated rural areas between them. That means we have super dark skies, and visitors to Spain are looking for these very dark, very clear skies that have been lost in their own countries.
Spain's privileged situation did not go unnoticed by the great powers of the 20th century, who built their astronomical complexes here. These antennas played a central role in the moon landing. NASA set them up in Robledo de Chovela in the early 1960s. They're part of the U.S. agency's Satellite Monitoring and Space Projects Complex. In the 1970s, domes changed the landscape of Sierra de los Filabres in Almería in southeastern Spain. At over 2,000 meters altitude, continental Europe's largest observatory was built here, the German-Spanish Astronomical Center at Calar Alto. Jens Helming came to Spain in the 1970s. Today, he is one of the few German engineers who work here. He knows the center's history very well.
In the 1960s, Germany was interested in investing more in astronomy, which is why they looked for a location for a new astronomical center. They looked in the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere. In the Northern Hemisphere, they looked in France, Italy, Greece, and Spain. The best place was here, in the south of Spain, in Almería.
One line of research at the center is devoted to creating innovative instruments. An example is Cármenes.
Carmenes was an idea that arose at a scientific meeting in 2008, where 11 international institutions agreed to create a device that could do what had never been possible in science before: detect planets outside our solar system, which, like Earth, could potentially support life.
Calar Alto is also exceptionally productive. It's the European center that generates the highest number of scientific publications. That's thanks to Ana Guijarro and her colleagues. From this room, she monitors the telescopes in the center. During the night, they become the eyes of scientists all over the world.
Some astronomers come here themselves, or we follow their detailed instructions and carry out the research for them. They tell us what to observe, how long, which filter, which entrance slit, what spectrum, and so on. They ask and we observe. At the end of the night, we send them the data, and then at their various research centers, they examine the data and decide if we need to make changes or continue as is.
At the control center, we meet Anna Pasquali. This Italian astronomer has traveled from Heidelberg University to supervise her observation hours tonight.
My research focuses on the formation of galaxies and how they change over time. What I am doing now is studying these galaxies, which we call central galaxies, that have the possibility of growing and merging with other galaxies, increasing their mass and dimension over time.
Calar
Alto PMSA is essential for this. This is the only way we can understand how stars are born in galaxies at different stages of development in the universe.
The firmament is observed by brilliant scientists, but also by thousands of amateur astronomers. Their contribution cannot be underestimated.
We professionals must form closer ties with amateur astronomers. First, because I'm convinced that they will contribute to the future of professional astronomy, and second, because a lot of science can be done with equipment that they already have.
As a boy, Juan Luis González Carballo dreamed of becoming an astronomer, and yet his professional life took him down other roads. So instead, for almost 30 years, he has spent all his free time on astronomy.
As amateurs, we can work intensively with professional astronomers. It's very exciting because instead of storing our work on our own computers, we add it to databases that others can use.
He is prolific. He publishes books, writes for scientific journals, and does research with international groups. In recent years, he helped discover a supernova with an Italian team.
A supernova is the most cataclysmic phenomenon in the universe since the Big Bang. Seeing it live, being part of the co-discovery of a supernova, justifies all those hours, all the time devoted to it. Although that's not the only reason to do it, you do it because it's fun, you enjoy it, and the data you gather night after night can be useful for other people.
That's how he cultivates his hobby. He spends hours and hours interpreting data. The times he used to sit outside and gaze into the night sky are long past.
When you observe from a fixed spot, like your house, you have to have an observatory in place to avoid always setting it up and taking it down, which is tedious. Nowadays, non-professional astronomers who are more serious about this can have equipment set up in a remote observatory, and then they can work from home.
Amateur astronomers from other countries also choose to come to the Iberian Peninsula. Reinhard and Jörg have traveled from Germany to Fregenal de la Sierra in the foothills of Sierra Morena. They've come with a clear objective.
We will set up our new telescope, and we will test the automatic making of any astronomy photographs.
Theirs is one of the last telescopes set up here for hosting, a special way of renting a private observatory. They chose this location after analyzing other destinations on other continents.
This is the best place for installing a robot telescope because it's very dark here. That's the first point. And the other point is a very good seeing here. And you can reach that very fast, especially from Germany. You just have to fly to Sevilla and you are here very short, so it's fine.
A sound interrupts the interview. The dome on the neighboring observatory starts moving. The sun is setting, and the Belgian owner of this telescope wants to check today's sky conditions. From the heart of Europe, he directs operations by remote control as he watches us through his camera. In a few weeks, these astronomers will be able to do the same thing from their homes in Munich.
Generally, we're making pictures of galaxies, sometimes planetary nebula. We are not really doing scientific stuffs like measurements for light curves for supernova or something like that. We are not scientists in that way. We are just doing our spare time. We are, amateur astronomers and just making pretty pictures, as you can see. And we also have a look at the stars here to see, because in Germany it's not possible anymore. The light pollution is too strong, so we're going here to do that.
In Germany alone, there are 30,000 amateur astronomers who have to travel outside their country to be able to enjoy their hobby. The same thing happens in other countries. Some of these aficionados have come to this astronomical complex.
People come here for the climate and the skies. They're mainly from Northern Europe. We've got people from various nations, from Russia, Great Britain, France and Belgium. The US company Numerica came here to build a telescope with us.
The initial forecasts were soon surpassed, and a business was born with a certain romantic touch.
We bought this land some years ago in Extremadura, and we realized the sky was of incredible quality. We would come with a telescope to look at the stars, and it was great. We invited friends, and since José Luis had good connections in the astronomy scene, he knew there was big demand for places to put up telescopes. So we thought maybe that was a good way to indulge our passion for astronomy and run a business at the same time.
The hosting service has given them international prestige among astronomers. The complex also offers accommodation and workshops. At nightfall, the leading lights make their entrance. Between the gnarled oaks and the broad landscape, the stars appear in dazzling brilliance.
In this area, you can see about 2,000 stars, compared with the city where you can see only 30 or 40, maybe 50 stars maximum.
To learn more about stars, we attend an astronomy session. José Luis Quiñones, the soul of this project, places stars within the context of the universe.
Everything we're seeing here is expanding. The universe is huge. It's 14 billion years old and still expanding. We live in a large supercity, the Milky Way, with over 400 billion stars.
The numbers are astonishing. The explanations show how important astronomy has always been for humans.
All our grandparents knew and identified the stars. Spica, the brightest star in the constellation Virgo, means wheat spike, and when it appeared in the east, they knew it was time to sow or harvest. Astronomy was essential for daily life. But today, environmental pollution and all our technology have completely disconnected us.
The stars have gone out in the eyes of many people who live in the developed world. This is what the planet looks like at night. Artificial light illuminates large surfaces of the northern hemisphere. Alqueva is the largest dam in Western Europe. The waters of the Guadiana River serve as the boundary between Spain and Portugal. The Portuguese were the pioneers in promoting astrotourism.
The idea arose in 2008 as part of creating a sustainable program for the Alqueva region. To offer something unique in terms of nature and resources for tourism, we thought of something no one had considered before: the sky. It's now a Starlight tourist destination, certified by the Starlight Foundation. In 2011, we were the first destination in the world to obtain this certification.
Since then, Alqueva has become a must-visit destination for astrotourism. Visitors fall into two groups.
Essentially, there's the amateur astronomers who love observing the sky, and then there's a large increase in families. Many children hear about the night sky at school, but they can't see the constellations in the cities where they live. So they come here with their parents to experience the dark skies together.
This megalithic monument, the cromlech of Xerès, was moved near Monsaraz when the Alqueva Dam was built. It's the setting for summer star parties.
It's a party for the whole family. The activities are suitable for both children and adults. You can observe the sun. There's a workshop for adults and children about the solar system. And right now we've got a yoga session here behind us.
The presence of hundreds of people lends a special symbolism to this place. Amid 5,000-year-old stones, it's a unique place to connect with the universe. Night falls, and sheltered by the convent of Orada, it's time to learn more about astronomy. Miguel Claro, the official astrophotographer here, shares his interest in the science of astronomy from a different perspective, photographing space while standing firmly on the Earth.
We want space to be more than just the telescope photographs disseminated by NASA and the European Southern Observatory. When people look at these images, they can't identify with them because they have no point of reference to know where they are. We want them to be able to connect the sky and the earth and find relevance in astronomy. Then there is the richness of the landscape of Alqueva with the cromlech and other elements of what it has to offer. It's very important to relay this message, to promote ourselves.
Essa mensagem e então nós podemos assim conseguir difundir a ciência mais facilmente.
At midnight, it's time to contemplate the firmament. Some with the help of more or less advanced technology, and many with the naked eye. Today, with the new moon, the universe looks splendid. The Milky Way passes overhead. It's easy to identify constellations like the Big Dipper, Cepheus or Cassiopeia, and stars that shine with their own name, such as Vega or Deneb. The sky here affords excellent visibility, an average of 286 nights a year. The degree of darkness in the 3,000 square kilometer region ranges from 21.2 to 21.8. That's the equivalent of rural skies to true dark sky sites. And those dark skies attract thousands of people interested in astronomy. Some areas offer multiple activities, while others are specialized. This is the case at the Tiedra Astronomy Center in the province of Valladolid, the only center in the world to be considered a star park.
We do not do astrophysics here. That is done at La Palma in the Canary Islands at more professional observatories. But we do receive school visits in the winter months. We get tourists, families, and what we do is open up a little window of knowledge about the sky to them. So they learn a bit more about what is up there in the sky. They can look through telescopes or with the naked eye.
After decades of experience publicizing information about astronomy, Jon Theos knows very well that this discipline requires scientific knowledge and something more.
To talk about science, you need a romantic view of the universe. There are really lovely concepts in astronomy, like that we come from the stars, for example. Everything that exists, that has substance, comes from the stars. With scientific concepts, which are a bit inaccessible to many people, it is important to present them with that sort of enticement as you share information.
Night falls. Everyone takes their position. The roof at the Astronomy Center slowly opens like a curtain at a theater, and the star show begins.
There are constellations in the night sky that can be seen with the naked eye. People really like discovering Sagittarius and Scorpio, and the stories that go with the constellations. For example, there's Cepheus, king of Ethiopia, who married Cassiopeia. That's Greek mythology. It's a lovely way for people to understand and know more about the sky.
For years, the Extremadura Center for Advanced Technologies has been making films for planetaria. Some are shown at the Trujillo Planetarium, and others are distributed in Spain and Latin America. More than 120,000 people have seen Exploring the Solar System, a fascinating journey from the Sun to Mars.
It shows a series of scenarios that had never been seen before.
With scientific advisors from the Canary Islands Institute of Astrophysics, this film enables viewers to see and understand the dawn of a comet or an asteroid collision. El Mundo Anillo, or The Ring World, is another of their films. Now that attempts are being made to find intelligent life on other planets, this production aims to explain what such a place might be like. Making astronomy attractive and establishing it as a tourist activity are matters that concern the entire sector. The Hotel Parador of Gredos in the province of Avila is hosting a course for astro-tourism guides. Everyone is committed to defending the dark sky, regardless of participants' profiles or backgrounds.
I'm from Toulouse in France. I decided to take this course because I want to add it to my 15 years of experience in tourism, especially in ecotourism. In Spain, it is more developed than in France. We have techniques that could be developed, but I know I'm going to be one of the first to import this knowledge about astrotourism to France.
Professionals from the most renowned places also come here to specialize. They all see astrotourism as an opportunity.
The Canary Islands are considered the world leader in astrotourism. And the truth is, we're very lucky in the Canary Islands, especially those of us born there. We can't let this opportunity pass.
Even for the experts, practice makes perfect.
There are two courses that differ only in the number of class hours. It's very intensive because we go for 12 hours a day, so we have time to cover everything. We spend the whole day in class, and at night we do astronomy practice sessions. But we're all very excited about it.
At midday, the garden turns into an observatory. It's time to observe and learn about our star, the Sun.
These are the first solar telescopes that existed, and the difference with this one is that it has a much higher resolution. And this one has a 0.5 Armstrong filter, which gives you lots more detail.
All the telescopes are pointed at the Sun. Tourism professionals have a clear goal in mind.
I've been working for over 25 years explaining the natural environment in the Sierra of Guadarrama in Madrid. We were doing night activities and started getting more and more interest in the sky. So we started learning more about it, and this is the best opportunity to continue learning.
Astrophotography is also popular. Antonio Cabanillas is one of the first astrophotographers in Spain.
This is the high point in amateur astronomy. You go from visual astronomy to looking through a telescope and end up doing photography. Possibly what leads you to do it is wanting to see more, because observation through a telescope is very limited.
The scientific content complements the touristic content. Paco Sanchez is the so-called father of the movement. He was the first to bring astrotourism to the area.
My wife and I built a hotel here in the Sierra of Gredos in 1994. We are pioneers of what is called small hotels with charm. I've always been an amateur astronomer. Then, when I built the hotel, one of the things I also did was set up a telescope in the hotel garden. The guests would come up and ask me, "Can we have a look?" And so I explained what they were seeing in the sky. We built an extension, and I built a dome on the roof, a more professional observatory. Hotel guests would come up with me, and I told them all about astronomy. And at one point I realized it was true, that we are very privileged in the sky we have here in this area.
Nature, livestock, the mountains, and hunting were the attractions the Sierra of Gredos was known for then. Paco Sanchez dared to innovate. Now, it's the dark sky that draws tourists. The demand was surprising.
People came here and asked, "I hear this is a very good place to see stars. Who can show them to me?" And we realized there was nobody who could do it. I was the only one here because I had my observatory and my telescope.
Once the potential was recognized, professional training picked up. El Milano Real was the first astronomical hotel in mainland Spain. Astrotourism is already showing profits.
Over half the nights of a year, we've got guests who come to observe the stars. What's more, everyone leaves happy. Everyone says, "It's fantastic. I've got to come back again. I'm going to start reading about this stuff because it's really fascinating."
The Javalambre Astrophysical Observatory is the most recent professional observatory built in Western Europe. Here, in the province of Teruel, they are working on an ambitious international project, making a three-dimensional detailed map of the cosmos. Several kilometers away, the same promoter, the Aragon Center for Studies of the Physics of the Cosmos, has built Galactica, a center for publicizing and practicing astronomy. This project, designed exclusively to cater to astrotourism, expects to receive 24,000 visitors a year. Other sites offer more. They open up the interior of their professional observatories to visitors. In Almería, the Friends Association of Calar Alto defends that view. This organization was created in 2013 during tough economic times.
After Germany and Spain signed the agreement for the observatory, there were drastic cuts in budget and staff. Initially, there was talk that the observatory might disappear, that it might close.
At first, few people could imagine what the white domes and special sky conditions of Calar Alto were good for. Scientific tourism is now an important asset.
We've held 3 of these astrotourism meetings in recent years to try to open up the market in this area, because there wasn't much to offer. We realized that when people came up to Calar Alto and set up amateur telescopes at night, they were stunned. They had no idea of the quality of the sky they had.
The German-Spanish Astronomical Center, in collaboration with the astrotourism company Azimut, has started to offer an exclusive astronomical experience. It allows visitors to feel they are an astronomer for a night.
At present, there is no professional observatory in Europe where a person can look through a telescope more than a meter in diameter with an eyepiece. This activity is exclusive to Calar Alto. It's offered nowhere else in the world. And anyone who does it will have an experience that they'll remember for the rest of their life.
Once a month, this telescope, which is 1.23 meters in diameter, is available for scientific tourism activity.
We have the ability to remove the scientific apparatus from the telescope and replace it with an eyepiece. Then our visitors can personally observe the marvels of the sky, as seen from here in Calar Alto.
Our main activity is research for science, so the number of nights we can devote to this activity is certainly limited, but it's something we're committed to. We're going to keep it going, and if circumstances allow, we'll expand and enhance it.
In the evening, the experience begins.
I want to see what you see through a telescope with the vast range of lenses you have. I've heard the resolution is so high you can see the moons of Uranus. That's what I want to see.
The special guests are invited into the scientists' workspaces.
We think this activity is more appropriate for people who have already had some previous experience with telescopes. Because if you have never looked through a telescope before and look through this one for the first time, you'll never want to look through any other one.
As darkness falls, the dome opens. In 1975, this telescope, manufactured in Germany, was the first telescope to go operational at Calar Alto. Tonight is one of the 10,000 nights it has been used to observe the firmament. It has 2 purposes. The scientific one, which is usually operated from the control room in Calar Alto or by remote control from Granada and Germany. And the second one, for astrotourism activities. On those occasions, it's operated from the control desk. For the session leader, adjusting the eyepiece is not always easy. The eyepiece has to be at an accessible height, and depending on which celestial body the telescope is aimed at, that can be difficult. A movable platform helps. As some people take turns looking through the telescope, others enjoy the spectacle offered by the sky, as seen with the naked eye. For 2 hours, observations are made, from the planets in our solar system on out into deep space.
I've been an amateur astronomer since I was 15 or 16, but the reflector or refractor telescopes I've used do not have the resolution this one has. Today, I've seen a planetary nebula, and that is far from what your average amateur astronomer can aspire to see.
A unique, extraordinary experience. It's really a privilege to be here. I encourage everyone to come and see what kind of work they do here and what astronomy has to offer. Above all, the top-level science being done here.
The universe has existed far longer than we humans have, and it will continue long after we disappear. Many people don't give that a second thought. Still, an increasing number are looking for a connection to something greater, something that makes their own existence seem so small, and yet, at the same time, makes them feel part of an immense vastness. It's enough to just look up. This is our legacy, our infinite legacy.